Welcome to the Metaphysics Hour. I'm your host, Rory Colgan. This is episode 22, the universal law of infinity. This universal law, like all the others that we have talked about, simply is a part of how the universe works. It's very important for us to understand that the universe doesn't function out of chance. It doesn't function completely out of chaos. It actually functions based upon law. Now, humanity's attempt at law oftentimes is a very poor substitute, the way the universe actually functions. One of my favorite verses in the Tao Te Ching, one of the most popular books in the world, actually second only to the Bible in terms of book sales. So we're talking about millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of book sales. The Tao Te Ching will simply say that as soon as you seek to improve upon the universe, great calamity approaches. In other words, that when you seek to improve upon what already is perfect, you destroy it. If I had a Mona Lisa, the original, and was like, you know what? I think I'd like to dye her hair, or at least put some highlights in her hair. And even if I was a skilled artisan, knowing how to do that, it'd be very difficult. But it would, in essence, change the masterpiece, and it would no longer be a masterpiece per se, unless I did the absolute best job at highlighting her hair with the oils from, today onto the oils of 300 years ago, or however old that painting is. So it's not completely impossible to vandalize a masterpiece and to, decrease its value. It is possible to vandalize a masterpiece and to maintain its value or even slightly increase it. But as the universal laws would have us remember, it is only a possibility. And that is the reason we have gathered for this particular episode. If you think of the law of infinity, you can also think of it as the law of possibilities, where nothing can be completely certain except for that particular statement or some other statements. So in other words, you give yourself a little bit of breathing room where, okay, in this particular situation, this is what you do for your best results. In this particular situation, this is what you do for your best result. Now, it's not always going to be the same in each particular scenario. If you're really nice to your grandmother, she's going to give you a cookie and a pat on your head. If you're really nice to a robber, he might tie you up and beat you senseless regardless, thinking that you're spiting him. So again, same behavior, different results. So being good all the time doesn't all the time give you good results. Sometimes you just need to know that, hey, I'm getting robbed. I'm going to be good, but I'm not going to extend much more, and I'll just kind of mind my P's and Q's, hopefully not make eye contact, and then maybe he'll forget about me and, go vent his frustration on somebody else instead of using me as a punching bag. Not saying it would work all the time, not saying it works none of the time. And that's the beauty of this particular law. Now, I know that's kind of a sad, in some ways creepy story, but it just goes to show that in what we talked about before, the law of duality, that there's negatives, there's positives. There's a way to harness energy in a negative situation, i.e. being robbed, to maximize its positive outcome. In other words, to walk out of there without any bruises or broken bones, and just to walk out of there without being molested or raped or anything of that nature. Not saying that that's always within everybody's control, because when somebody does something violent to you, what is that? Well, that's breaking universal law. Yes, you can break universal laws. It doesn't make your life happier or healthier. It does give you what you want in the short term. And so that's why a robber or a rapist or a murderer can do what they do against your will or against somebody's will and get away with it temporarily. Then we have this thing called the justice system that's supposed to administer justice, to find the criminal, the one that broke the law, and then to compensate said civilization and society for that particular person and their crime, and then help them correct their pattern of thinking and behaving. Now, that's how it's supposed to work, But oftentimes what happens, like in the Tao Te Ching, as soon as you seek to improve upon the universe, you bring disaster. And so by us creating a justice system the way it is, there's a lot of injustices. Just yesterday, I was listening to a video where there's a man who is serving a life sentence because California at one point had the 3 strikes and you're out law. And guess what his third offense was? Stealing 3 golf clubs. He's in jail for the rest of his life because he stole 3 golf clubs. That's something that you would think would happen in a medieval society. And what I propose is that we are the medieval society of the year 4000. So sit back, relax, and enjoy being in the crazy insanity of the Middle Ages. But there are things that we can do that will accelerate our consciousness, our civilization, out of this silly quagmire, out of this stupid, ignorant, dark, and dumb area called the Middle Ages. Most people just call it the current year, 2016, whatever. I call it the Middle Ages. And many other people would too, because if you experience some of the injustices of this current age and day, you can't help but wonder how we could ever be at the apex of human achievement. Sure, there's some gadgets out there that are definitely the apex of our achievement, at least in the last 5,000 years. But in terms of how we're relating to people, not so much, not at all, depending upon who you ask and each individual situation. So I know that was a bit of a rant, and I know I was talking a little bit about the universal law of infinity, but let's just put it out there blatantly. Let's just make it very simple, very clear for everybody so that they can understand that this is the force of the universe, not my making, not anybody else's making. No man, no woman, no child, doesn't matter if they're white, black, or any other color, those people didn't make it. It came before, and it has existed before even our species, even our race, even our planet, and it will continue regardless of what we do on this planet. That should give you some security and some trust in these forces so that you know that they're not corruptible. Yes, humans are corruptible, but the laws are not, just as physics describes that there are laws that are not corruptible, or at least laws that we don't know how to corrupt or to transcend or break or bend. Now, there are ways of doing it because the physics that we know is only so much of a scope of the physics that is the truth physics, the physics that matches these universal laws, not just these physical laws. But making a car run on air is great in theory and technically true in metaphysics as a possibility. But actually doing that is worth a lot of time and energy invested. So, what is this universal law? Well, you've probably already recognized it for what it is. It is the law of possibility. It means that anything is possible. Anything is possible. And so for you, me, and everybody else on this planet, and probably throughout this entire cosmos, it behooves us to recognize that there is the possibility for anything. Now, we can use this law to our advantage by saying, this is what I want to achieve. It is possible. This is what I want to learn. This is what I want to accomplish. It is possible. That's very helpful. That's the positive side. The negative side is to recognize that the things that you don't want, those things are also possible. I may get killed, imprisoned. What are other things? Other things that you don't want to happen. Those things are possible. But all you have to do to be in harmony with this law is recognize that they're possible. That this law is not the aggressive law. This law is the law of possibility. The law of infinite possibility. It relies with you and me to determine the direction we go through this ocean of possibility. So it should enlighten you and encourage you and free you to recognize that you can achieve whatever you want, and to recognize that whatever you want to achieve comes with a price. It's the law of duality. There's a cause and effect, and there is also a positive and a negative. So you can achieve whatever it is that you want. You can be whoever it is that you want to be, but there will be a cost. Use the universal law of infinity to open your mind to possibilities. This is one of my favorite sayings, and it's something that I've said in the last few years as a teacher, not so much early on. I'll give advice. I feel completely certain in this advice. I feel powerful with the advice that I'm given. It feels very important, very profound, very helpful. And regardless of the person's going to take it, I listen to it as I say it and say, yes, amen to that. And then after I say that amazing, beautiful, eloquent sentence that tends to help people see things very clearly, I say, but I could be wrong. It is so important to be open to the possibility of being wrong. Just as it's so important to open yourself to the possibility of being right. This is important for humanity. We must bridle that ego. We must harness it. And we harness it by harmonizing with all these universal laws. The law of infinity being one. I could be right, I could be wrong. I'm fairly certain, but there's the off chance that I'm wrong. I'm fairly uncertain, but there's the off chance I might be right. Harmonize with this law and also use all the other universal forces to make the life that you want. It's within reach. It is possible. The law of infinity shall guide you through the quagmire of limited thinking and help you open your mind to the way the universe truly works. The universe works with possibilities. This is Rory Colgan from the Metaphysics Hour and Inner Health Today, wishing you to be well, be happy, and go ahead. Seek to do the impossible. You and what you will learn will never be the same.